in Malaysia.
We are.
It's 5 a.m. and we're very, very tired. We took a night flight from Sri Lanka and landed in Malaysia at 5 a.m. and were reunited with Starbucks after a full month without in Sri Lanka, and then took a public bus from the airport into Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, our fourth country of our backpacking travels, and we were only visiting for a very quick 48 hours. We headed to our accommodation, which was Mingle Hostel, and had to wait to check in, but it has a private pool. It's our first hostel of the entire trip. So as you can see, we were budgeting hard in Kuala Lumpur, but if I was to go back, I think I would have a look at a more upscale hotel and really go out and treat myself, because the city has so many skyscrapers, so many great hotels to choose from, and with planning you can find some incredible deals with money off your booking. So this is how we booked all of our travel throughout Asia. We use planning.com, and I'm going to take you through the website, show you all the deals you can find with up to 40% off your bookings. So I'll take you through the website on my phone, I'll put it on the screen, and you can follow along as I find some really great deals. But the best thing about planning is that it has creator reviews, so you can find your favorite travel influencers on there, follow them, see what they recommend, where they've said before. So you can create a free planning account, and that's the only way you can access these deals, so make sure you sign up for free and have a look through where you're off to next. And after Kuala Lumpur, we'll be going to Thailand, so let's have a look at Bangkok to see what kind of deals we can get there. So we have Metropolitan Bangkok, 5-star hotel, looks very fancy, free cancellation, free breakfast. We've got an influencer recommendation, $101 per night, 15% off, looks stunning. Then we have the Salil Hotel in Thong Lor, which is another 5-star, also rooftop pool, photos look amazing, $87 per night and 15% off. Let's see if we can find another one. Avani Riverside, I mean, the photos. Infinity pool overlooking the city, you've got a view of the river as well, incredible, $120 per night and 15% off. So there are some really incredible deals for Bangkok. Sign up for free for your planning account to be able to access all of these deals and to see these. So make sure to sign up for free, follow your favorite creators like myself, and access incredible deals for your next holiday. So thank you very much to Planning for sponsoring this little segment of the video. But back to Kuala Lumpur and what I get up to in Malaysia's capital. So it was very early and we were off to explore the city, and we made our first stop at Batu Caves, hoping that as it was so early we would avoid the heat and the crowds, but I hadn't slept very well on the flight into Kuala Lumpur and kept falling asleep on any mode of transport we took that day. But made it to the Batu Caves, which were a little bit of a tourist trap, I would say, but really cool to see, and it was free to climb to the top, although you do need to have your legs covered, shoulders covered if you are a lady, and they will let you buy shawls, which I had to do when I was there as I wasn't dressed appropriately. But it is a pretty strenuous hike to the top. There are a lot of monkeys around, there were a lot of people already this time of the morning. The monkeys are very cheeky and people do feed them. They're not afraid of humans either, so just be wary when you do see them. But great views from the stairs and from the top, and like I said, it is a bit sweaty and a bit humid, and we did also have our small backpacks with us as we weren't able to check in. But yeah, I was a hot and sweaty mess by the time I got to the top, but really cool to see the inside. It's almost like a cave inside with temples, so that was definitely really cool to see the temples inside, and there were also services happening, so if you do want to go to those, make sure you take your shoes off. And yeah, it was just really cool to see. And then if you go even further, there are even more stairs, and this area had lots of monkeys. It was quite eerie, creepy to see, but if you just look up, there were monkeys everywhere that could literally just pounce on you at any second. Himself had done a lot of research when it came to food in Kuala Lumpur, and our first stop was Shin Ki beef noodles, full of locals, but some really great food. It's very hole in the wall style, sitting together, just chilling with the locals, and we had some beef noodles and beef soup. So I think we kind of guessed we had to put the noodles into the soup with the beef as well and kind of eat it all together. We weren't really sure, but we tried it and it was so delicious. So I would highly recommend coming here, and you can see them cooking the food out the front of the shop as well before you go in. Then we headed to the famous Petaling Street, which is just full of markets, food stalls, and people haggling, selling, and you'll get a lot of people coming up to you as you walk by. Come see my store, come see what I have, you buy this, you buy that. So just be prepared, but it's really cool to come and see and just browse through what they have, and come into the canteen area where there's a lot of food stalls and a lot of people eating. Very busy, and a great place to come and check out. We stopped by the famous Surya KLCC mall because it was so hot. Kuala Lumpur was definitely up there as a contender for the hottest place we had been in our travels so far. So we came to the mall to savour the air conditioning before then heading to our hostel to properly check in and see our room, which was a really cool loft style with a mattress above, had a bookshelf which I absolutely adored, and a balcony outside that overlooked the swimming pool. But we actually had a little nap because I was absolutely exhausted by this point. I was falling asleep in the taxi on the way back to the hostel and definitely needed a little bit of sleep before we went out for dinner. For dinner on both nights in Kuala Lumpur, we headed to Jalan Alor, which is the famous night market in Kuala Lumpur, and there are so many food stalls here. It was so busy, full of people, but really cool to see and come and see that hustle and bustle of an Asian city and the night food markets and the stalls and the hawker stalls, hawker sellers. Really cool just to come and experience, have a little bit of everything, try different things. But of course, once we seen the gyoza, there was no walking past these, so I had some dumplings, maybe too many dumplings, and really enjoyed them. So tasty. And then we headed to a nearby restaurant for like a little sit down outside so we could people watch in the night as well, and then also have some chicken satay and then some noodles to go along with it. But very tasty, really cool spot to come people watch, like I said, and just full of different stalls to suit anything you want to eat. Maybe do some research before you come to see which kind of stalls you want to visit and what kind of food you're after. But I could highly recommend just trust your instincts and go with what you're feeling in the moment. And then to walk off all that food that we headed back towards the Petronas Towers for the Symphony Lake water show at night. A really cool calm park to sit in and really enjoy the water and the music at the fountain and the Petronas Towers. Day 2 and our final full day in Kuala Lumpur, we headed to Merdeka Square, which is quite near to where we were staying, so quite handy. We just walked here just to see where Malaysia took its independence back from the British, and had a look at the architecture and buildings around, which is very nice to see, and just strolled around the city for a while. I spotted a Dunkin' coffee and was so overjoyed to be back. I miss it so much. I miss New York so much. But anyway, back to backpacking. We were headed on the train to a Chinese temple, which is incredible to come and see. It was a bit of a hike by the time we got there. A really beautiful temple to come and see a little bit outside of the city centre. For breakfast, lunch, brunch, we headed back to Petaling Street. Himself had another little area in mind for some food, and he spotted a Wales jersey, obviously 100% real. But we headed to Kun Ki Wonton Mee restaurant, and we actually had a local person come over to us and ask us how we knew about the restaurant. Himself was very chuffed with himself. The food, honestly, it was so good. We could have had here every single day. But it's right behind this little couple that serve pancakes, so it's quite a hidden gem. Like, you have to go around them and it's in the back. Then next door is Honki porridge, which serves like fish intestines, frog porridge, anything you wouldn't want in a porridge. Basically they serve it. But there's this secret sauce porridge that we had to try, and I didn't like it. We wandered around the city some more in the afternoon to see some temples, which is really cool to come and see. This one was a free entry, and I actually met a Malaysian man outside that worked there who had spent around 15 years in Cork in Ireland. So he had an Irish accent but was from Malaysia and also had like a Malaysian twang, and it was just the weirdest thing ever, but like we could bond over Ireland. It was really cool and a unique interaction in Malaysia. For a late afternoon snack, we headed for some more beef noodles at Soon Ki Beef Noodle. I wouldn't say this was as nice as the previous one in Petaling Market or from yesterday, but it is one of the highly rated ones in the city, worth going to see. And then we headed to Helipad Rooftop Bar. This is probably the most we've spent at a bar or for drinks or anything during our time backpacking. I think this is also only the second alcoholic drink that we've had our whole time backpacking so far. But you pay at the door for a ticket, and that ticket includes 2 cocktails or beers, spirits, whatever you want when you get to the top. So a very good deal. And it's an old helipad turned into a really cool rooftop bar to go to if you're in Kuala Lumpur. Afterwards, we headed to Bukit Bintang, which is kind of like Kuala Lumpur's Times Square, and then we walked over then to Jalan Alor night market for dinner again. Our last night, as soon as we see a big steamed dumpling tin, we are over like a flash. So we had a lot of dumplings, more gyozas, and called it a night, our final night in Kuala Lumpur before leaving the next day. So next morning we were up and checked out of our hostel, and right next door there's this place called Local Coffee, which served a gorgeous brunch. And then we headed on our flight to Thailand, country number 5. We were flying into Krabi, so make sure you come back, subscribe if you are new, let me know if you have any questions about Kuala Lumpur, but come back and see my travels around Thailand. We're spending a lot of time in Thailand as well, so you don't want to miss it.